Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network Novel. City. Shenhao Big Wheel. An ordinary young man named Yeran suddenly binds to the Shenhao Super Big Wheel system, and as long as he receives envy from others, he can participate in a lottery. Lamborghini star. Poison. Billion cash. Thompson first-class luxury private villa. 100,000 bitcoins. Exclusive recipe for Xicha. 6G communication research technology. Land planning red-headed document. Future financial newspaper. 50% stake in Apple company. Perfect body building medicine. Master level octopus fist. So who Yeran started the other people's life mode. It's enviable to have a New Year package at the underwater hotel on a night of 30,000 yuan. Others show off their luxury cars with Douyin, while Ye Ranxiu adds a helicopter and a yacht. Others show off their luxury homes, but Ye Ranxiu has just taken a picture of the land. Divine and straightforward text, absolutely not cruel. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. System Arrival, New Book Seeking Flowers and Reviews. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. System Arrival, New Book Seeking Flowers and Reviews. In the evening of Nancheng, the sun has already set in the west. It's only 20 minutes until 5 o'clock, and as the end of work approaches, the employees of Tiancheng Real Estate are a bit lazy, taking out their phones to play. Yeran looked around and saw that everyone else was playing, so he took out his phone and secretly scrolled through his social media. He has added a lot of friends to his reputation, including anyone, and can constantly update himself with new updates and various news. Where did something big happen? The speed of news reporting is sometimes not as fast as spreading on social media. To be a good person, the most important thing is to keep a low profile. Don't be too far-fetched, make progress every day, and eventually achieve success in your career. From Fruit 11 Pro, Dark Night Green. 10-star underwater hotel. Yeran looked at the newly created WeChat moments with envy in his eyes. This was the reputation he had previously gained from a client who had traveled around the world during this period, so there was no need to worry about not having enough money. Whenever you go, make sure to check in and post on social media, along with some preaching. Yeran also wants this kind of life, but dreams are beautiful, reality is cruel, and he is currently just an office worker. Yeran swiped his fingers downwards and continued scrolling through his social media. Suddenly, a crisp voice rang out in his mind. Ding, congratulations to the host for awakening the divine giant roulette system. What? Yeran shook his hand with his phone and almost lost control. Fortunately, I reacted promptly and there were no accidents. Ding, the binding of Shenhao's super large roulette system has been successful. Is the host activated? Shenhao Super Big Wheel System. Yeran paused for a moment, lowered his head, and looked blankly at his phone. After a while, he realized. As a fan of online novels, Yeran couldn't have been unaware of the system, but he was suddenly startled and didn't think about it. Shenhao Super Big Wheel System. Can you explain it well? Yeran tried to ask in his heart. The sound of the system echoed in his ear again. Answer the host, I am System Intelligence. This system is a super large roulette wheel system of Shenhao. When the host activates it, they can draw lots by obtaining others' envy points. The more envy points there are, the higher the level of the draw. 10 points of envy can be used for a bronze draw. 100 points of envy can be used for a silver draw, 1,000 points of envy can be used for a gold draw, 10,000 points of envy can be used for a platinum draw, 100,000 points of envy can be used for a king draw, and 1,000,000 points of envy can be used for the highest draw. The higher the level of the lottery, the higher the lower limit of the reward. As the host, you can have a free lottery once a month. The prizes in the free lottery are not limited by grade and can appear in anything. Yeran is not calm anymore. After all, this system just needs envy points. Of course, the free lottery cannot be ignored. What if the character and luck are on the charts and the king's reward is drawn? Can you explain how to obtain this envy value in the system? Others envy the host. Providing you with envy values can vary greatly among people of different identities. Ding, will the host participate in the first lottery? Lottery, start the lottery, Yeran whispered excitedly. Although the voice was lowered, the abnormality on this side was still noticed by Li Xiaofei on the other side, and was it to attract her attention. She frowned and didn't say anything. We are all colleagues, so please save face and don't go too far. She thought so, swiped her finger, and continued browsing shopping websites. At this moment, Yeran was still looking down at her phone, never realizing that the beautiful female colleague across from her had already fantasized about the entire male-chasing female plot. He just looks at beautiful women more often in his daily life. After all, everyone has a love for beauty, let alone being under the same roof. But even if he knew it, he wouldn't care. At this moment, in front of him, there appeared a wheel that only he could see. The roulette wheel was divided into 10 parts, and there was no such reward as, "Thank you for the lottery," because there was no level limit in this lottery. The prizes appeared, and the red pointer began to rotate with Yeran's command. The pointer swipes through 10 rewards, including Rolex watches, 90 million cash, 50-carat diamonds, 100-kilometer gold veins, Mercedes-Benz G.Class, Lamborghini Poison, Lamborghini Hurricane, land planning red-headed documents, 300,000 cash, and one more time. After turning twice, the speed of the red pointer began to slow down. Yeran held his breath and murmured softly, "Which one do you want? It's so good to want it all. How about we give you 90 million yuan in cash first, and I'll come back next month for other rewards." Determined which one he wanted in his heart, Yeran murmured softly, but unfortunately things were not swayed by his will. The red pointer slowly and firmly swiped over the Lamborghini Poison and froze on the nearby Lamborghini Hurricane. Ding, congratulations to the host for drawing Hurricane Lamborghini. We are arranging procedures for the host. The vehicle has arrived at the underground parking lot, has been insured, and has been registered. The sound of the system rang in Yeran's ear, and as the sound fell, Yeran noticed an extra Lamborghini key in his pocket at some point. Everything is true. Although it's not the most expensive Lamborghini Poison, Yeran is still very satisfied. After all, the reward is always there, sooner or later it will be his thing. After the free lottery is used up, can he still use the envy value to win the lottery? But how can I get this envy value? Yeran's eyebrows furrowed slightly, his fingers subconsciously tapping on the table, deliberately showing off the newly acquired Lamborghini Hurricane. He shook his head in his heart. Doing so would make others envious, but more likely it was disgust or disbelief. It was best to show it unintentionally, in a very natural way. Just as he was thinking about it, Li Xiaofei across from him suddenly said, "Yeran, it's time to finish work soon. I'll drive you back in the car and talk to you about something about our relationship." When she heard the sound of knocking on the table just now, she thought that her colleague across from her had not given up his unconventional thoughts. Li Xiaofei felt that in order not to damage the friendship between colleagues, she needed to figure out that her man, at worst, should be at the level of a department general manager, rather than an ordinary employee like Li Ran. Li Xiaofei's face and figure gave her such confidence that she was the #1 beauty of Tiancheng real estate, and no one would deny it. Beautiful women always receive a lot of attention, and when they speak up, they also bring their own rumors and gossip. Ding Liangping, who was sitting at the next table, smiled and said, "Hey, is our beauty Li dating Yeran?" Nangong Ro followed suit and coaxed, "That's right. This kind of thing is something my husband and I would only talk about. Xiaofei, you two secretly filmed and dragged, which is not good. Let's go public, hee hee." Xiao Fei didn't talk about a boyfriend before, and he's young. Don't act around, said Wang, who was in charge of property. Faced with such a scene, Li Xiaofei's face turned red and he couldn't explain. No, it's not what everyone thinks. It's just a simple matter. Yeran and I happened to take him on the way. There was a commotion outside, and Manager Yang, who was sitting in the office, walked out casually. Upon hearing the conversation, his expression darkened. Li Xiaofei had been thinking about it for a long time, but now someone is faster than him, still an ordinary and honest employee. Manager Yang's face returned to normal and walked towards Li Xiaofei. At this moment, Yeran also spoke up and clarified, "Don't misunderstand, Xiaofei and I are ordinary friends and haven't had any relationship. Just tell me if you have anything to do now. I also drove over today, so I won't trouble you to bring it with me." After Yeran said these words, a system prompt sound suddenly came from his ear. From Ding Liangping, envy value +1. From Manager Yang's envy score +20. From Feng Jie's envy value +1. From. In the blink of an eye, Yeran received an envy score of 25 points, and there were still 5 points left after 2 bronze draws. He was stunned. So, how did the envy value brush like this? There are many men in the company, but for those who have no ideas about Li Xiaofei, they will not provide envy values. Identity differences are also reflected at this time. What are managers and ordinary employees envious of when they are different? Is it because you are friends with Li Xiaofei or are you affectionately referring to him as Xiaofei? Yeran secretly pondered. Manager Yang walked over and said in surprise, "Yeran, you bought a car before. What kind of car did you buy?" "It's a small car worth around 100,000 yuan, right? Nowadays, it's easy to buy a car but difficult to maintain it. You can't afford to spend money on fuel, maintenance, and insurance. For example, I spend nearly 10,000 yuan on a BMW every year. You have to act within your means. Cars have more problems and problems, so what kind of car do you buy?" In and out of the conversation, although he didn't curse, the mockery was heavy, but his identity was there, and other employees didn't dare to say it. Ding Liangping kindly reminded, "Let me hear from you. I have some research on cars and know that some car repair shops have lower maintenance prices. You shouldn't go to a 4S shop, as they offer the same services as regular repair shops, but the fees are much higher." Yeran tilted his eyes and said, "My car is okay, but I'm off work now. I'll introduce it to you next time." Upon his reminder, many people also noticed that 5 o'clock had already passed and immediately began to tidy up their desks. Some people who had prepared in advance had already checked in and left. Although gossip sounds good, you can listen to it tomorrow when you start work. If it's delayed after work, you won't be able to make up for it. Yeran picked up his phone, got up, and was ready to leave. What Li Xiaofei said about discussing things alone was obviously in vain. Manager Yang's eyes flickered with a cold light, and he smiled as he opened his mouth and said, "It's time for us to finish work. Let's go together." Xiaofei, Mu Yan, and Yeran are all following. "Yeran, can you say what your car is now?" He is not determined to suppress Yeran today. In his opinion, what good car can an ordinary employee buy? Compared to his BMW, doesn't it immediately appear shabby? By showing off the presence and attracting Li Xiaofei's attention, it can be said to be a win-win situation, benefiting without any cost. Colleagues in the same group fell silent, and Yeran thought for a moment, "Anyway, let's go to the parking lot together. You will know then, there's no need to rush for a moment, you need to maintain a sense of mystery. Don't be surprised to see my car." Mysterious feeling. Surprised. Manager Yang pouted to himself, would he be surprised? Isn't it an excuse to slip away at the parking lot, or just to get in the car and run away? Li Xiaofei also furrowed his brows slightly. In her opinion, Yeran was too ink-stained. She couldn't just say what the car was about, and it was still hanging on everyone's stomachs. The key was that one of them was the manager. If he offended the manager and wore small shoes every day, could his career be better in the future? My decision is indeed right. Although Yeran is very handsome, in this material world, it still depends on money. When looking for an opportunity, be sure to draw a clear line with the other person, but don't disturb yourself in searching for a true lover. Just thinking about it, the elevator door opened and we arrived at the underground parking lot. Chapter 2 tells you, I have a showdown. New. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 2 tells you, I have a showdown. New book. Seeking flowers and reviews. Stepping out of the elevator, everyone instinctively looked around and was about to walk towards their vehicle position, but Manager Yang stopped and remained motionless. The person behind immediately stopped. Didn't see it, it's okay. Walking with the manager, how dare you walk in front of the manager? Yeran doesn't have it. He has now won the system, and the things in the lottery are worth more and more. To put it bluntly, it doesn't matter whether he does this job or not, so he naturally doesn't care so much. He looked up and looked around, but the system only told him that Hurricane Lamborghini was parked in an underground parking lot, without specifying its location. Quickly, Yeran's gaze locked onto a low-bodied car with the emblem of Angry Bull not far away. The exterior was silver-white, and that was the Lamborghini logo. There was only one car in the parking lot, walking straight towards that direction. Manager Yang followed the others behind, and coincidentally, there was a Volkswagen Santana next to Hurricane Lamborghini. Just when everyone thought that the car Yeran bought was the Santana, they found out that he was heading towards Lamborghini or towards the driver's seat, and there were no more cars there. Ding Liangping shouted from behind, "Hey, Yeran, you're going in the wrong direction. Don't get too close to someone else's car. That's a Lamborghini. If it's damaged, you can't afford to pay for it. If you want to take a photo, it's better to move your Santana away." Manager Yang pretended to have a sudden realization and said, "It turns out that Yeran bought a Santana." As expected, he wanted to remain mysterious. Don't laugh at him later, treat him like a Lamborghini owner. This Volkswagen car series is also okay. Why didn't Yeran admit it before? It's not yet known to us. Manager, you really take care of your employees. Someone immediately flattered. You're right, we've also been there. Sports cars are not common in Nanjing. Hurry up and take photos and post them on social media, but the owner isn't there either. It's best to let Yeran take his car away first. It's too eye-catching to dare to park here. Manager Yang smiled proudly, unable to conceal it. He dared to approach Li Xiaofei, and he suffered a lot, right? However, at this moment, Li Xiaofei was relatively calm and couldn't understand the fanatical colleagues around her. She didn't understand cars, didn't have that concept, and naturally looked indifferent. Under the leadership of Manager Yang, many people laughed and walked forward. At this moment, Yeran turned around and looked at a group of people behind him, wondering, can't I afford to pay for a damaged item? That's right. Ding Liangping nodded naturally and carefully looked at the car. This is the Lamborghini Hurricane, also known as the Little Cow. The car paint is shiny, obviously a new car, and the top configuration is also top of the line. With various taxes and the original car price, there is no price that cannot be lowered for 5 million yuan. This is a man's dream. If you scratch the car paint, the car owner will definitely not easily peel it off, and in severe cases, it will even cause trouble for the company. Li Xiaofei was shocked and said, "What? This car costs 5 million. That's right." Ding Liangping nodded and took out his phone to take a photo, only to see Yeran's mouth twitch. I casually took out a car key and pressed it down. The two headlights of the Lamborghini Hurricane flashed behind me and asked calmly, "What are you talking about? What can't I afford to pay for my own car?" He has never said which car it is, these colleagues take it for granted. The scene was once very quiet, and Manager Yang's face kept changing. His mouth opened but he didn't say a word. Is this true? Ding Lianping's expression stiffened as he held his phone and put it down, let alone put it away. He didn't know what expression to make. Several colleagues who had previously mocked Yeran awkwardly turned their heads, while Li Xiaofei spun around on Lamborghini and Yeran with strange eyes. From Li Xiaofei, envy value +1. From Ding Liangping, envy value +1. From Nangong Ro, envy value +1. From. This will increase Yeran's envy value by 5 points. Looking at the person in front of him, Yeran felt very happy. However, Manager Yang may have been more jealous. This time, he did not provide him with an envy value, but other male colleagues provided him with a little envy value, which would just reach 30 points. 3 bronze lottery draws can be conducted, but it is obviously not easy to draw now. We will continue to study later. Nangong Ro was not very good at hiding and asked directly, Yeran, is this the car you mentioned before? It's just okay. My colleague at the end of the day made a simple calculation. 5 million yuan, I pay 5,000 yuan a month, 60,000 yuan a year. How about eating, drinking, and working for more than 80 years? Yeran, you are not a hidden second-generation wealthy person, are you? Just one car is enough for us to strive for a lifetime. We are usually low-key, and that's the true wealthy. That's right, Manager Yang insisted on running a bank run before, but Yeran didn't want to give him face. It's embarrassing now. Li Xiaofei's thoughts surged in her heart, as if it was the first time she had met her colleague in front of her. She began to recall everything from before. She was really a low-key person, and if it weren't for today's outburst, no one would have known. Listening to the sound coming from behind, Manager Yang and Ding Liangping's faces looked even uglier, but they turned around to see who it was. For the first time being flattered with such flattery, Yeran laughed. There must be something about the system that cannot be said. After thinking for a moment, he simply said, I didn't expect to be discovered by you even though I disguised myself so well. I won't pretend anymore, I'll have a showdown with you. As you can see, I'm just an ordinary second-generation wealthy person who came to experience life. Starting today, I will officially resume my previous life. I don't know Manager Yang's opinion on my car. Can $1 million car catch my eye? He never forgot how the people in front of him were secretly sarcastic in the office, and now he has the opportunity to naturally counterattack. Manager Yang sneered and said, I don't have any opinion. I used to speak without hesitation and say the wrong thing. How could you call it a car? This is a supercar. Ding Liangping lowered his head, thinking of what he had just said, and his face turned red. It was embarrassing, but he still had doubts in his heart. Is that car really bought by Yeran? Can't it be rented by any car dealership? He is familiar with cars and also knows about luxury car rentals. For supercar models like the Xiaonyo, acquaintances pay a deposit of 30,000 to 50,000 yuan. After a day of driving, it only costs 3,000 yuan. Of course, the price of a new car may be even higher. If he already has a demand, renting a car is not impossible. Perhaps Yeran rented a supercar today, but was hit by them. Ding Liangping became more and more right as he thought about it, feeling a sense of resentment in his heart. He leaned into Manager Yang's ear and whispered, Manager, Yeran's car may have been rented by him. Let's put it in our shoes. When we return the car tomorrow and experience life, how could the wealthy second-generation encounter it so easily? We were almost fooled. I'm not good at speaking up. Give him a try, maybe in a few days, he won't drive to work. Manager Yang raised his eyebrows and thought about it carefully. He seemed to have some truth in what he said, but he was an old fogey after all, and didn't ask him to his face. Instead, he chuckled and said, Yeran, no, Ye Xiao, this is the new car you bought. It's so luxurious. The company happens to have a team building in 3 days, so you have to participate. Please treat us all to a meal. We would like to congratulate you on your purchase of a new car, and no matter where you go in the future, you will have face working with us. At that time, there will be a gathering and a commotion, asking Ye Ran to pay. As a wealthy second-generation person, I don't think I will care about those 3 or 5,000 yuan. If I insist on pretending to be a wealthy second-generation person, then my face will be swollen. Ye Ran was in a happy mood and didn't think much. She nodded and agreed, with a system in place and no need to worry about money. There is another one. He has been working in this company for more than 3 years, and his colleagues have a strong relationship. Even if he resigns, it will still follow the normal procedures. Team building is a previously agreed upon project, and he has also agreed to participate. Ye Ran stayed there for a while until the envy value of the system stopped increasing, and then he got in and started the car. The Lamborghini Hurricane roared, causing Manager Yang and his team to change their expressions. Li Xiaofei's face was full of strange colors, and the sound could be heard far from the underground parking lot. The shadow of the hurricane disappeared at the exit of the underground parking lot. Leaving the company building, Ye Ran's previously hidden expression was revealed, excitedly gripping the steering wheel and observing the interior of the car. He felt very pleased when he remembered the expressions on Manager Yang and Ding Liangping just now. The accelerator pedal was pressed even harder, and the car occasionally made a roar, spreading on the street. As the number of vehicles on the road increased and the evening rush hour arrived, Ye Ran had to slow down. However, the engine sound of Lamborghini still attracted a lot of attention. Even on the distant sidewalk, passers-by cast their gaze. The car windows have not yet been covered with film, and Ye Ran can clearly feel everything outside. A pair of eyes hooked straight over, and there were system prompts. The envy value kept increasing, which made Jiang Chen feel both embarrassed and a bit gloomy. Not only that, but Ye Ran glanced in the rearview mirror and clearly noticed that in such a crowded moment, there were no cars behind him. To be precise, there was a long empty space, enough to accommodate an SUV. If it were usual, people on both sides would add congestion, but this time no one. This is the change that a car brings, and this is just the first reward I drew. How many times can I draw a reward now? Ye Ran felt a clear realization in his heart and instinctively checked his envy level. Due to a person's envy towards something, depending on their identity and emotional fluctuations, the envy value provided to Ye Ran varies, but only once, and the envy value will not be repeated. At this point, his accumulated envy value has reached 110 points, enough to participate in 11 bronze lucky draws. Or participate in a silver and bronze lottery. Oh, it's so annoying. Should I choose multiple lottery draws or a high-quality lottery draw? Ye Ran is trapped in the trouble of happiness. Chapter 3. The more money you spend. New book Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The more money you spend. New book Seeking Flowers and reviews. The traffic ahead began to move, and Ye Ran was still struggling. Soon, he came up with a compromise solution. System, conduct a bronze lottery. The 10 envy points are deducted, and the big wheel begins to rotate. This way, there are still 100 envy points left. Whether to proceed with the bronze or silver lottery can be carefully considered. Now driving, Ye Ran didn't let the wheel appear in front of him. Based on previous experience, the reward will be automatically credited, so he doesn't have to worry. Not long after, the system's voice sounded. Ding, congratulations to the host for receiving a reward of 300,000 yuan. Ye Ran's phone was delayed for a while when a text message came from Ding Dong. You have a bank card ending in 6054, with a transfer amount of 300,000 yuan and a balance of 320,000 yuan. Looking at the text message prompt, Ye Ran's heartbeat quickened uncontrollably. The extra 20,000 yuan was praised by him for his work in recent years, and with the addition of monthly payments to his family, having 20,000 yuan in savings is already quite good. Now, a bronze lottery is 15 times his. Although I saw a 90 million yuan cash reward in a free lottery before, it didn't seem like it wasn't in my pocket, so I didn't feel much of it. Yeran didn't know what to say. The system was indeed impressive, and there was a tenfold difference between the white eye lottery and the bronze lottery. So what would happen? He was in a daze, and on the right lane was a Toyota Prado. The owner lowered the car window and saw a middle-aged man with a big gold ring on his fingers. He looked at Yeran's car in amazement, then turned to ask Yeran. "Brother, how much did you spend on buying this car? By the way, I would like to remind you that the car behind you is waiting for you to drive forward. It's been a while, and if you don't leave, you'll have to honk the horn to urge you." Yeran regained his senses and looked back and forth. He found that as the middle-aged man had said, the car in front of him had already walked a distance, while the car in the back was still waiting. He nodded slightly at the middle-aged man. "Thank you for reminding me, uncle. My car is not expensive, around 5 million yuan. Let's go first." The middle-aged man looked at the sports car in front of him and exclaimed, "Sleeping in bed, 5 million is not expensive. This brother is really rich. Bull, he has gained a lot of knowledge." The light emanating from his eyes was like seeing a peerless beauty. Who is young and never had the luxury of supercars? Setting aside their needs, men still love cars more. As Yeran drove forward, the cars behind dared to keep up, maintaining the initial distance and not getting too close, yet being able to see the cars ahead clearly. Along the way, some people secretly took out their phones to take photos, and Yeran didn't pay much attention to it. He took out his phone to search for the destination. Of course it's not his rental house. He's currently equipped with a system and has a luxury car by his side. How could he not have a suitable outfit? He just drew 300,000 yuan here. Spend money while earning envy points, and then draw lots to form a virtuous cycle. Yeran searched online for a while and quickly located a place. Wangfujing. That's right, it's Wangfujing, not Wangfujing in Yanjing, it's just a subsidiary industry. This is the hottest commercial center in Nanjing this year. The reason for its popularity is simple. Various luxury goods have settled in, so it has become a commercial center. In addition, the subway and various other shopping malls, as well as a 95% occupancy rate in the surrounding area, have also become popular. This area has become a famous pedestrian street in the southern city, making it a great place for shopping. Yeran set his goal and immediately turned the steering wheel towards his destination. Due to traffic congestion and several kilometers of travel, he had to drive for an hour to get there. There were many people here, men and women, flower sellers, QR code scanners, and all kinds of people. Along the way, Yeran also received some envy values, but not much, and girls basically don't provide him with envy values because of cars. Most girls lack understanding of cars. Park the car in the underground garage, and Yeran takes the elevator directly and walks upstairs. Wangfujing in the southern city has 7 floors. The first and second floors are ordinary clothing stores, the third and fourth floors are food stores, the fifth floor is the movie city, and the sixth floor is some fitness and wellness centers. The seventh floor is different. The seventh floor is a luxury goods store. Some major domestic brands have settled in. Chanel, Gucci, Dior, Bulgari, Cartier, Louis Vuitton, Prada, Armani, Versace. The Wangfujing elevator is very large and can accommodate more than 40 people. At the third and fourth floors, more than half of the people walk, and at the fifth floor, it is basically empty. Yeran pressed on the seventh floor, and at this point, there were only 6 people left in the elevator, mostly girls. Some lowered their heads to play with their phones, while others chatted quietly with each other. The seventh floor arrived quickly, and everyone walked out one after another. Yeran didn't have a specific goal, so he just wandered around casually, looking at the clothes in the store, intending to buy those clothes that looked good, anyway they were all branded and of good quality. Suddenly, as Yeran passed by the Gucci store, a young man of his age walked out of it. His facial features were not as attractive as his, but the other person was wearing newly purchased clothes, which unexpectedly highlighted a special temperament. The salesperson bid farewell to him from behind. This person's clothing is indeed good, and the ancients never deceived me. Yeran paused in his footsteps and walked towards the Gucci specialty store. To be honest, he looked better than the other party, so he chose an outfit that was definitely more impressive. When he walked over, the salesperson who came out happened to enter, and another sweet-looking salesperson came forward to greet him. "Hello sir, my name is Zhao Linger and I am your salesperson. May I ask if you are looking for a bag or buying clothes?" The other person is very beautiful, at least 1.7 meters tall, with very slender legs and a prominent figure. The little white rabbit is even more impressive. Dressed in black hair and tied in a ponytail, he looked handsome and charming, which was in line with Yeran's aesthetic. The woman in front of me can score at least 90 points. However, Yeran only glanced and then withdrew his gaze. It was not that he didn't want to look, but rather that his purpose was to buy things and earn envy points, clearly distinguishing the importance. "Bag." Yeran muttered in confusion before saying, "Then buy some." Zhao Linger smiled and nodded, immediately taking Yeran to buy in a more youthful area. This is an internationally renowned luxury goods store, and although Yeran's clothes are the ordinary ones he used to wear, they have not received any criticism or ridicule. His professional ethics are still worthy of recognition. "Sir, winter is coming soon. Here are our recommended winter styles. Take a look at these." Zhao Linger spoke up and introduced. Yeran squinted his eyes and looked over, picking out 3 pieces of clothing based on his feelings. Buying clothes naturally meant buying what he liked. He put the clothes aside and began to try them on. It has to be said that there is a reason why clothes in luxury stores are expensive. Yeran put on his clothes and looked in front of the mirror. The 3 pieces he picked out caught his eye and fit very well. He didn't ask about the price and casually handed over 2 pieces of clothing, saying, "Not bad. Pack these 2 pieces and take me to see the pants and shoes. Why don't you buy the whole set at your house?" "Ah." Zhao Linger, who was originally preparing a quotation, was stunned for a moment. Did she encounter a wealthy individual? When Yeran came in just now, she noticed that the clothes on the guest's body were ordinary goods. She thought it would be a waste of work again, but she didn't expect it to start turning around and getting lost. "Okay," Zhao Linger quickly reacted and began packaging. Immediately after, Yeran continued to rely on eye contact, selecting 3 pairs of matching pants, 4 belts, and 10 different pairs of shoes. Without seeing the bag he liked, he did not make a purchase. If you have money, you should follow your own wishes and care about what you do so much. Soon, at the cashier's side, Yeran received a very enthusiastic reception, and the store manager personally came out. Because based on a rough estimate, the consumption has exceeded 100,000 yuan. If it's in places like Maohai and Yanjing, it's not uncommon to spend 1 million yuan, but this is the southern city. A quasi-first-tier city with an average salary of 3 to 4,000 yuan per person. Spend 100,000 yuan and buy an outfit. This properly hidden wealthy second generation is finally no longer low-key. Yeran leisurely drank the tea offered by the store manager, listening to the sound of the system in his mind, and his envy increased. Not only the staff here, but also the customers who are selecting products, providing more or less. "Hello, you spent a total of 13,000 yuan. The cashier stood up, handed out the bill with both hands, and said with a smile on her face. 11,000 13,000. Yeran was surprised in his heart, but on the surface, he was calm and simply swiped his card. Zhao Linger asked enthusiastically, "Sir, are you taking these things back yourself, or are we delivering them to you?" Luxury stores do offer door-to-door delivery services. Yeran looked at the large and small bags underground, but he couldn't pick them up alone. He immediately said, "No need, just help me carry the things. I'll drive over and don't trouble you." Zhao Linger and another clever girl stepped forward and quickly picked up the big and small bags. Yeran smiled at the two of them and walked towards the door. During the time of purchasing, he had already collected 20 envy points and could participate in 2 more bronze lucky draws. Be lucky, draw 300000, which is equivalent to 600,000, and the more money you spend, the more you spend. This is simply a win-win situation. It seems that spending more money can accumulate more wealth. Chapter 4. How Dare Two-Sleeved Breezes to Mistake a Beauty, New Book. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. How Dare Two-Sleeved Breezes to Mistake a Beauty, New Book. Seeking flowers and evaluation. Coming out of the Gucci specialty store, Yeran was carrying a few small bags alone, while the rest of the items were being carried by 2 girls following behind him. Zhao Linger and another girl named Zhu Tian followed left and right, carrying things. From a distance, the 2 women seemed to be Yeran's girlfriends, both of whom are very beautiful. When encountering a couple on the road, the man must turn back and take a second look. Sometimes he can't help but turn back more frequently. Encountering another couple, Yeran clearly saw envy in the boy's eyes, and a system prompt sounded in his mind, increasing his envy value slightly. The girl was furious and asked in a low voice, "What are you looking at? You envy others for having 2 girlfriends. Don't even take a look at that handsome guy's outfit and appearance. What can you compare to him?" "I envy it just because I can't compete," the boy protested softly. The girl pulled her ear and said, "I envy you, a playboy. With my girlfriend, I'm thinking of something else." She twisted her boyfriend and walked away, but as she walked, she quickly turned back and glanced. The Gucci clothes on Yeran's body were recognized by her, making her look handsome. Unfortunately, she was someone else's boyfriend and didn't have a chance. The scene behind them, Zhao Linger and Zhu Tian both heard, their faces slightly red, and secretly observed the people around them to see what their reactions would be. And Yeran also happened to look left and right, making eye contact with the 2 women separately. He was okay, resisting with his thick skin. The faces of the 2 girls were even more rosy. Yeran remained silent and felt a sense of liveliness in his heart. I could also earn envy through my girlfriend's method. Like now, just being mistaken for having 2 girlfriends, he receives a lot of envy from boys. You know, how many strangers do we each meet every day? If it's live streaming on the internet or simply shooting Douyin, with the red eyes of hundreds of millions of netizens, and only a few million people watching it, there are 100,000 people who envy it to the point of madness. Is this envy worth brushing over? Yeran thought more and more, and a series of plans were generated in his mind. If successful, wouldn't that be straightforward? Of course, the higher the level of the lottery, the more envy points are required, and it may be a bit difficult in the later stage. He also needs a whole company to serve and operate for him, tailored for him. After looking at each other, Yeran stopped talking and thought about his own affairs. Zhao Linger and Zhu Tian couldn't help but secretly observe. I can only see the profile, but with a high appearance, I look very handsome no matter what. As she stepped into the elevator and saw the opportunity to spend time alone disappear, Zhao Linger gritted her teeth and suddenly asked, "Mr. Yi, you are so young and promising. You must have a girlfriend now, right?" Yeran was slightly taken aback, shook his head, and said, "Not yet. How dare you talk about girlfriends before?" As things become more materialistic, when it comes to talking about girlfriends, the primary focus is on money. Without money, it's difficult to get along, and the dowry for weddings is increasing year by year, with tens or even millions of dollars in dowry money. For him before, it could be said that it was a difficult mountain to climb. In online terms, how dare he miss a beautiful woman with clean sleeves. And now with the system, you can earn more money, but you don't want to get married. With so much money, why do you rush into the grave of marriage? Isn't it fragrant to be outside? However, Zhao Linger and Zhu Tian both realized the wrong meaning at the same time, and a ray of admiration flashed in their eyes. This boss is indeed the boss. He used to prioritize his career and didn't want to delay others. He talked about it after his career was successful, and he was handsome. He was the perfect man in his heart. Zhao Linger boldly asked, "Well, can I add some credibility to you? I can inform you of any future events in the store." Yeran looked at Zhao Linger, who had a forced reason, and only nodded slightly when he saw the other person's face turn red again. Okay. Upon seeing this, Zhu Tian next to her also wanted to add friends. Adding one is adding, and adding two is also adding. Both sides are beautiful women, but they don't suffer losses. The timing is ripe, and perhaps they can eat each other instead. Yeran thought so and agreed to their friend's request. At this moment, the elevator happened to arrive at the underground parking lot, and Yeran walked towards his own car. Chapter 5. 7 Lotteries. New book Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 7 Lotteries. New book Seeking Flowers and Reviews. When Yeran walked towards Lamborghini and took out the car key, the surprise in the eyes of Zhao Linger and Zhu Tian couldn't be concealed. They work in luxury goods stores and have knowledge about other luxury goods in the world, including sports cars. I don't know the specific model of the sports car in front of me, but Lamborghini still knows that it is worth millions, with prices as high as tens of millions. This handsome, young and wealthy boss seems to have too much value. It seems that he cannot climb up high. Zhao Linger and Zhu Tian both had this thought in their hearts at the same time. Ye Ranxiu wouldn't care so much. He opened the passenger door, put his things in, and said, "You two bring your things over. Are you tired from walking with them for so long?" Zhu Tian shook her head and said, "It's okay, this is what we should do." The large and small packages were stuffed into the passenger seat. Fortunately there was enough space, otherwise we would have to let Zhao Linger and her team deliver them. It's quite troublesome to come and go, and Yeran still wants to go back and study the lottery system as soon as possible. He has only drawn twice now, the first time receiving a Lamborghini Hurricane worth 5 million yuan, and the second time directly receiving 300,000 yuan. What will you get from drawing 10 or 8 times? The prizes on the big wheel can be seen, and Yeran had no time to buy things after driving before. After briefly organizing, Yeran waved at the two beautiful women and said, "Thank you for your help. I'll come over and see you next time. Brother Yi, take your time and don't forget." Zhao Linger and Zhu Tian watched with some nostalgia as the vehicle disappeared. Suddenly, the two women both snorted coldly and moved a few steps to the side, returning to the storefront in a parallel position. In the car, Yeran glanced at the co-pilot's belongings, then glanced at the bank's text message prompt, as well as the envy value on the system interface, and a satisfied smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. After doing this, it was already 9 o'clock in the evening. Yeran thought for a moment, located his previous place of residence, and drove there. I originally planned to stay at a hotel, but I didn't bring my ID card and there were a lot of clothes and shoes, making it troublesome to move around. And his previous place of residence was for the sake of affordability, and the location was very remote. The navigation location said it would take an hour to arrive, but the actual travel time was 1.5 hours. Returning to the old community, Yeran shook his head. It seemed like it was time to find a way to buy a villa to live in and make travel more convenient. As an ordinary person, his predecessor should work conscientiously and handle all kinds of affairs carefully. Many ideas can only be buried in his heart. When changing houses, he should investigate the location in advance. But now, many things do not need to be considered. There were not many people coming out to wander in the community at night, and Yeran was anxious about the system he had researched. The car stopped downstairs and headed straight to the 7th floor. Returning to the room and locking the door, Yeran shouted in his heart, "System." The screen flashed, and only Yeran could see the roulette wheel appearing in front of him. There were various settings next to the roulette wheel, such as mute, invisibility, blocking, no disturbance, and lottery level switching. This was simply a conscience system, considering all aspects. Driving or doing something, receiving envy from others without being disturbed, perfectly close to life. At the center of the roulette wheel, there is a record of envy values, and you can also check historical records to see who envies him at what time period. At this point, Yeran's total envy score was 167 points. But just now he wandered around Wangfujing and met not only 800 but also 400 people. The proportion is not high, and the fluctuation is not large enough. It should be because it was too low. Key before and appeared in front of the public for a short time. I will try something else next time. Yeran knocked on the table to summarize. This is his way of getting rich from now on. Although there are free lottery draws with unlimited levels every month, he can draw a few more times. Why not? Looking at 167 envy points again, Yeran clicked on the bronze lottery and a wooden wheel appeared in front of him. Even the pointer was made of wood, which was very different from the monthly free lottery. 300,000 yuan, 100,000 yuan, 30 kilograms of silver, 1 week stock market increase forecast, red-headed document for the planning of Nanjing School District, divine drift technology, 5 sets of school district rooms, divine culinary skills, fitness pills, and divine tea art. 10 rewards, each of which is very useful, the only difference is how much it is useful. He won 300,000 yuan in the bronze lottery last time. Yeran carefully looked at each reward and wanted it very much, but he didn't start the lottery directly. Instead, he moved to the level of the silver lottery. The wheel in front of him changed suddenly and turned silver white, and the level immediately rose. 10 rewards appeared separately. 50 million cash, 100 kilograms of gold, 1 month stock market rise record, Rolls-Royce Phantom, futures volatility prediction, fighting skills, antique appreciation, luxury cruise ship, distribution map of ancient and modern imperial tombs in Great Xia. One more time. After reading it, Yeran's mouth twitched. Is the one behind the silver lottery toxic? Distribution map of imperial tombs. What does he want that thing to do? Yeran never thought of doing anything illegal. Ignoring this reward, Yeran began to analyze the difference between 2 different levels of rewards. Firstly, there was a difference in value, with a huge difference in the amount of real gold and silver, as well as the amount of items. A 1-week stock market increase forecast and a month stock market increase record, anyone can easily understand at a glance, it's just a drop in the bucket. However, if we only look at the rewards without comparing them, bronze rewards are also good. After all, they are earned for nothing, and if you draw them, you will receive them. The only cost is envy points. However, which lottery should we draw? I almost forgot. Yeran suddenly exclaimed in surprise and turned to say, "System, please bring out the gold lottery roulette for me. Silver has become like this, what about the gold lottery?" As he rubbed his hands as he expected, the system sound sounded. Ding, it has been detected that the host's envy value is only 167 points, which does not match the gold lottery and cannot be mobilized. Yeran was extremely resentful and said, "Stingy. If you don't look, then don't look. If it's not just 1,000 points of envy, there will be some sooner or later. Well, then there will be 6 bronze draws and 1 silver draw." 2 different colored turntables began to rotate, and the envy value above suddenly increased from 167 points to 7 points. Yeran blocked the hint of the bronze lottery and stared closely at the silver lottery wheel. The silver pointer slowly rotated and after 2 circles, it stopped at the 1-month stock market increase record. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the record of 1 month stock market increase in summer. Would you like to withdraw it? Yeran looked at the other rewards reluctantly and did not choose to withdraw them. The 1 month period recorded by the stock market's rise was counted from the day of withdrawal, and the withdrawal was effective at any time. However, entering the stock market requires funds, and there is not much money now. Withdrawing it would be a waste. Although the domestic stock market adopts a T+1 system, it is still possible to double the principal with a large amount of investment and knowing the record of gains. He turned to check the bronze lottery again, at which point the third lottery was taking place. The rewards drawn by Yeran were first stored in the virtual warehouse of the system, instead of being directly transferred to the account as before. Chapter 6. Rewards drawn. New book Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novel full.audio. Yeran squinted his eyes as he watched the big roulette wheel turn and draw. Soon, the 6 draws ended. 2 rewards of 300,000 yuan, 1 reward of 100,000 yuan, divine drift technology, red-headed document of Nanjing School District planning, fitness pills. After watching the rewards 6 times, Yeran showed a satisfied smile at the corner of his mouth. System. I want to extract rewards. Ding, congratulations to the host. The 700,000 reward has been received. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining divine level drift technology. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the red-headed document for the planning of Nanjing School District. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the strong body pill. With the continuous prompts from the system, Yeran felt a subtle change in his body, as if he had a better understanding of car driving, probably due to the changes brought about by divine drift technology. And in front of him, there was an extra red-headed document, with a blue wooden box next to it. The bank receipt information has been sent to his mobile phone. Originally, the shopping cost 13,000 yuan, but at this time, Yeran's funds have risen to 97,000 yuan, along with 3 other things. Divine level drift technology. Yeran vaguely felt that as long as there were wheels and a drivable car in front of him, he could float up without any accidents. But now it's evening and I'm too lazy to go downstairs. I can only go and have a Lamborghini tomorrow to get used to it. Drifting causes significant damage to vehicles. That's okay, the car is not easy to drive, so just change it. Will ye be short of money in the future? And there is a separate explanation for the strong body pill and the red-headed document of Nanjing School District planning. Item. Body strengthening pills. Effect. After taking it, simply exercise in the gym. After a week, you can have a perfect figure, enhance various functions of the body, and mainly support the kidneys. This thing is so good. Yeran had previously felt that his body was overweight, and with this pill, his physique was impressive. I won't mention the final explanation if I know. It can only be said that not getting married in the near future is just for the sake of the waves, it's like adding wings to a tiger. The red-headed file attribute next to it also appears in my eyes. Item. Red-headed document for the planning of Nanjing School District. Effect. Record all school district plans in Nanjing for the next year, with top-secret information. After reading this explanation, Yeran understood the school district planning. Although Nanjing is a second-tier city, there are many famous schools in Nanjing, known as the top 3 education schools in the country, all located in Nanjing. Jiangnan is also known as the hometown of the god of examination, breaking historical records year by year. Many wealthy people from other places, as long as they have the conditions, will send their children to study in Nanjing. However, most of them don't mean they want to attend prestigious schools, they can't fit in at all, but are divided by school districts. Everyone is competing, resulting in many school districts in Nanjing having high housing prices. Yeran's company is a real estate developer, and I have some information that some slightly more focused school district houses have an average price of around 25,000 yuan. 25,000 may not sound like a sky-high price, compared to the school district housing of over 10,000 in the Magic Sea, it's nothing. But these 25,000 school district houses are all those old houses, even abandoned buildings. Originally, no one wanted 5,000 square meters, but as long as it was divided into school district houses, that would be great. Upon careful calculation, this is really a big prize. Unless it's a big boss with various networking resources, don't expect to get real core information. Being found leaking is a serious violation of the law. Fortunately, Yeran obtained it through the system and there will be no harm. Yeran took out his phone and placed it on the desk, waiting for his mood to gradually calm down before starting to organize the rewards he had received. Xia did not withdraw the record of stock market gains for a month, so he had to wait for strong funds to operate. Drift technology has been integrated into his body, and he will only wait for tomorrow to experiment. The 700,000 yuan has already been received. There were still the planning documents for the Nanqing school district and the health pills in front of Yeran. Without much thought, he opened the box, took out the pills inside, and swallowed them directly. As long as he had time to go to the gym for 7 days, he could get a good physique, which was simply not too good. Yeran turned to open the red-headed document of the school district planning. It was already winter and there were still 2 months left for the Chinese New Year. The document contained the plan for next year, and he could use his existing funds to purchase a house. When the harvest came next year, Shenhao's life was rushing towards him. After figuring it out, Yeran lay down comfortably, and shortly after closing her eyes, she suddenly opened them again. System, I have drawn the bronze lottery 6 times now, with 2 repetitions. Next time, I won't keep everything unchanged, will I keep it the same? Or will I draw 1 reward and lose 1? If that's really the case, wouldn't it be necessary to advance to a higher level of lottery? But in that case, the 6 levels of lottery only add up to 60 items. If the money is grouped together, that category is even less. Ding dong, the host doesn't have to worry. In the bronze lottery, after the special reward is drawn, there will only be 1 reward left, which is 100,000 yuan, 200,000 yuan for silver, and so on. Bronze lottery, special rewards of 20, silver rewards of 40, and so on, each lottery will automatically refresh. Yeran breathed a sigh of relief, then he didn't worry anymore. The 6 levels of rewards have been doubling, and there are a total of 1,260 special rewards. With coins added, there are more than 2,000 rewards. The envy value required for the subsequent lottery is still very high, and currently it seems that he has nothing to worry about. Yeran lay down again and quickly fell asleep after her body relaxed. There was nothing to say overnight. The next day, at 7 o'clock in the morning, the previous biological clock automatically woke Yeran up. He took a cold shower and changed into the new Gucci clothes he purchased yesterday. The aura of a successful person emanated, and he straightened his clothes in front of the mirror. Yeran took the Lamborghini car key and went straight downstairs. He plans to draw more prizes for the house here, with enough funds, to buy a villa before moving. After all, he has stayed there for several years and has feelings. The landlord is also good. If they leave without prior notice, it will be troublesome for them to find new tenants. After going downstairs, Yeran looked at the place where he parked yesterday and was taken aback for a moment, because there was a circle of elders and aunties around the place, and a few young people were also watching. One of the aunties muttered, "Why is this car so short? What I see on weekdays is completely different." The old man next to him said uncertain, "You don't know, it seems like some kind of sports car. I saw it on TV last time and heard that it's expensive. Is it true that you can buy it for around 500,000 yuan? A few young people couldn't bear to listen and explained, "This is a Lamborghini Hurricane. The car alone would cost over 4 million, and if it really landed, it would cost more than 5 million. Please let me take a photo first." As soon as the words fell, several middle-aged men and women around who were planning to touch quickly withdrew their hands and were startled. How much? 5 million. Did you read it wrong? Yeah, how could such wealthy people come to our community? Are they relatives of any family? How could it be that there's something we don't know about this chaotic scene? The young man who had previously explained angrily said, "It's true. Lamborghini is my dream car, absolutely right. I've even said the price is too low, maybe even more." He said, taking advantage of the opportunity to quickly take a few photos in a row. Yeran saw that the onlookers had no intention of leaving for a short time, so he had to step forward and say, "Everyone, please let me know. I still have to go to work and take photos for you later." The elders and aunties instinctively kept a distance, and the young people taking photos smiled awkwardly with a nervous expression, because most luxury car owners did not want to be photographed. Apart from not liking it, there was personal information on the license plate. Yeran smiled back and patted the other person's shoulder, saying, "Since it's your dream car, you need to take action. What can you do with just taking a few photos? Believe in yourself, you can do it. After speaking, start the engine and leave gracefully." The group of people left behind with their hair dazed, and the three young people had expressions of envy, excitement in their eyes. And those uncles and aunties are reminiscing, when did such a wealthy person come into the community? I think I've seen that young man before, but he's not as handsome as he is today. I don't know if he's the same person, said the aunt with suspicion. However, it's true that I have money and good manners, but unfortunately my daughter is already married and doesn't have a chance. My daughter hasn't gotten married yet, I don't know what that young man's name is. Matchmaking. Numerous uncles and aunties began to disperse, but in the coming days, the topic of discussion is about to turn to this Lamborghini in Yeran. Chapter 7. Changes around us. New book Seeking Flowers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Coming out of the old community, Yeran took some time to check his envy score, which increased by 5 points to 11. A bronze lottery can be conducted, and the worst reward in the bronze lottery should be that 100,000 yuan. However, Yeran restrained himself this time. He had already seen the bronze and silver lottery, and he wanted to see a higher level of reward. Let's first accumulate envy points before speaking. Unless you can't help but crave a lottery, never draw. Driving on the streets of the city, Yeran held the steering wheel and stepped on the accelerator. The divine level drift technique he received yesterday made him have an impulse now to perform a perfect drift, experiencing speed and passion, just like in that movie. But the bustling traffic around him forced him to give up this idea. I don't know if there is such an environment in Nanchang, but it's best to have a professional track. According to the terrifying speed of a hurricane at 3.2 seconds per 100 kilometers, the territory is large enough to have a full play. Yeran's heart was itching and unbearable, but after all, he had just started and was not clear about some high-end tourist attractions in the southern city. At present, the only way to obtain information is through the internet. Take note of this matter, and Yeran quickly arrived at the underground parking lot of the company building. As soon as he parked his car, he ran into Li Xiaofei walking from the other side. Yeran, good morning, Li Xiaofei greeted with a smile. Good morning, by the way, Xiaofei, what did you have to say separately yesterday? Now it's just the two of us. Li Xiaofei's expression stiffened, and he glanced at Lamborghini without a trace. Recalling yesterday's scene, he immediately changed his mind and said. It's nothing, it's because you're so handsome and have a good temperament. You're like a god of men. I just wanted to ask if you have a girlfriend. Normally, it seems like you're leaving work alone, coming and going. Yeran responded casually, well, I was originally thinking of finding someone genuine, but I didn't find one. What about you now? Are you still looking? Li Xiaofei asked. She also felt remorseful in her heart. If she had known the situation was like this, she should have put it upside down in the beginning. With her beauty and figure, there should have been a good chance, and maybe she would have become the main wife. Even if she couldn't get married, it would still be very beneficial for her. Now that the news has been made public, the main wife doesn't want anything, and becoming one of the women is considered good. This is a material world, and being a material woman is not bad. Li Xiaofei had already realized this in his heart. Yeran looked at the beautiful woman around him with a smile on his face, and the external conditions were very good. Now, if you give up, just find a girlfriend. I don't have any plans to get married for now, he said. Li Xiaofei nodded silently and turned to other topics. The two of them walked into Tiancheng Real Estate's office, chatting and laughing, and the entire office suddenly fell silent. Ding Liangping looked at Ye Ran's greatly changed temperament in surprise, speechless. Is this really the person he knew before? Surprisingly, it has become somewhat unfamiliar. Miss Treasure Wang's focus is on her attire. Xiaoye, have you bought all these clothes recently? Gucci's clothes cost at least tens of thousands of yuan per set. Will you be spending time with us as a second-generation wealthy person in the future? Between words, there is an unnatural shock and disbelief. She left early yesterday and learned the news today. Yeran smiled and said, No, Miss Wang, are you still a big sister? You don't need much more clothes, they're all cheap. Money used to be good to him, and he didn't want to put on airs in front of his colleagues. He just socialized normally, but other colleagues were still very nervous when talking. Although there were rumors yesterday that Yeran was pretending to be a wealthy second-generation, now at first glance, he can even afford to wear designer clothes worth tens of thousands of yuan. Can this be fake? The clothes are explained as rented, but the temperament cannot be concealed. Even Manager Yang stepped out of the guest's way and said, Yi Shao, are you free now? Let's go to the office and talk. Yeran frowned and nodded slightly. Exactly, I also have something to tell you. Manager Yang politely made an invitation gesture, while the other employees remained silent. After the office closed, discussions resumed. Feng Jie pushed his glasses and exclaimed in shock, Damn it, I just checked the price of Ye Ran's clothes on Gucci's official website. Guess how much you want? 2,000. 3,000. I guess it would be 7,000, or maybe 6,000. Let me know the exact amount quickly. That's right, whether you're talking or not, I'll check the official website myself. Just now, when Yeran was facing Manager Yang, he was one head taller than him. He's really handsome. As soon as this problem arose, a circle of colleagues gathered around, including Li Xiaofei. Everyone wanted to know how much the clothes Yeran was wearing, but Feng Jie satisfied everyone's appetite and spoke slowly, You underestimate Yi Shao too much. The price of Yeran's shirt just now was 15,000 yuan, which doesn't include the same pants and shoes. The total amount of clothing added up must be over 30,000 to 40,000 yuan. The surroundings suddenly quieted down, and Li Xiaofei only felt his heart beating faster, even forgetting yesterday's thoughts. What department general manager position can compete with existing billionaires? There is still some understanding between the two. Ding Liangping's mouth twitched and silently shrank into his seat. Would you like to apologize to Ye Ran privately later? After all, I spoke ill of him behind his back yesterday. The other party may disdain to argue with him, but he cannot ignore it or hide. Chapter 8. Resignation, New Book Seeking Flowers and Evaluation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While discussing enthusiastically outside, Yeran leisurely drank tea in the manager's office, which was personally served by Manager Yang. The attitude before and after this is a 180-degree turn. Manager Yang, who can sit on the manager's throne, is naturally a versatile person. What Feng Jie and his team can see outside, he would have noticed earlier, otherwise he wouldn't have called Yi Shao by name, but rather by name. Yi Shao, my tea is not very good. Do you still have a habit of drinking it? I have offended you a lot before. I hope you don't mind being petty and show your respect. Manager Yang smiled apologetically and sat on the sofa next to him, naturally referring to what happened last night after work. Yesterday's incident, if it were just an ordinary employee, it would be fine. With the authority of his manager, he can suppress it to death. Now that the other party has another important identity, it needs to be carefully considered. If someone really gets tough with them, they can use money to smash them to death. He can afford to drive a luxury car worth 5 million yuan, and his family has tens of millions of assets at the worst. It's not something that a small manager like him can compete against. Yeran smiled faintly and said, "It's okay. Previously, I was experiencing life, and encountering various things in the workplace was considered a test. But besides jealousy, you are stronger. You are usually good, otherwise, I wouldn't easily let you go. Since it is said that the second generation of wealthy people are experiencing life, he can directly substitute it and there is no need to find other excuses. He can also make public statements in the future. His comments are also based on his previous real experience." The other party apologizes with a low profile, but it doesn't make much sense to hold on to them. The anger in his heart just comes out. Manager Yang was not at all dissatisfied with the rude comments and nodded repeatedly, "Yes, yes, yes. What Ye Xiao said is true. Thank you for your guidance. I will definitely not do that in the future. It was true that I was too complacent before and must change." Yeran picked up his teacup as a gesture, took a gentle sip, and the office fell into a brief silence. After sitting for a while, Manager Yang asked anxiously, "Ye Xiao, you are now back to normal life. Will the company still come in the future?" Seemingly afraid that Yeran might misunderstand something, he quickly added, "I'll just casually ask, whether to leave or stay, how to make a decision, or whether Ye Xiao depends on your mood. Anyway, it's always a colleague's decision." Yeran knocked on the table and quickly made a decision. "The day after tomorrow is team building, right? I will leave after participating in the team building. Now, please handle the resignation procedures for me. I will treat the team building guests, and the venue will be determined according to the original plan. I plan to start a company soon, and if there is any business dealings, I will still meet you. It's okay for you to work under my command." Manager Yang was mentally prepared for this answer. After all, as a wealthy second generation, since he is not experiencing life, he naturally will not stay in this small place. It is already good to remember a trace of affection. As for the other party starting a company and working in the past. After hesitating for a moment, Manager Yang shook his head in his heart. He had already taken the managerial position and there was no need to take risks in the new company. "Okay, I'll go handle it today. I'll definitely go and congratulate you on the day your company opens, Ye Xiao." Yeran nodded slightly and stood up, "Then I'll go finish today's work. This conversation doesn't need to be kept confidential. Welcome to come and change jobs." After speaking, he turned around and left the office. Manager Yang instinctively followed behind to bid farewell. "Ye Xiao, I'm adjusting someone's hands for you. You can directly handle the handover. How could you be too embarrassed to let you continue with this kind of work? I didn't know the situation before." Yeran thought for a moment, but did not refuse. He just said he wanted to start a company, not just talking, it would be better to start planning now. As soon as the two of them came out, the lively discussion outside suddenly quieted down, and no one spoke, secretly observing. Yeran returned to his original workstation as if nothing had happened, which excitedly Xiaofei across from him. Manager Yang arranged everything, looked around, and nodded at Ding Liangping. "Mu Yan, come in. I have something to tell you." Not long after the two of them entered, Yeran spent half an hour handing over work with the new arrivals, and then began to carefully consider the plan for what kind of company to start. He is currently either running a real estate company or an investment company, both of which have props in hand, and he definitely only makes a profit without losing. Of course, he never forgot about earning envy value, that's the fundamental thing. Colleagues around here could see the commotion clearly, and Li Xiaofei asked anxiously, Yeran, are you going to change positions or even hand over your work? Oh, I'm planning to start a company and not work here. I'll see you in the future and treat you to dinner, Yeran responded casually. Feng Jie was shocked and asked, what? Starting a company. Starting a company. I haven't figured out what company to start yet, but it definitely needs to be started. Let's give it a try. Feng Jie. Nangong Ro. Li Xiaofei. Quiet down in the office. Is there any talk of starting a company for investment or trying it out? Yeran's envy value began to increase, and almost everyone in the office provided him with something. Only manager Yang and Ding Liangping in the office were unaware of the situation and did not provide it. A colleague said from afar, Yeran, you are already developed. As a big boss in the future, don't say you don't know us. That's right, at least we've worked together before, and it's worth mentioning. Listening to these pleasantries and with a hint of envy, Yeran responded with a smile, it's easy to say. The day after tomorrow is team building. I'll treat everyone to a big meal. If anyone wants to come to my company in the future, I welcome them too. His attitude is very good and he doesn't put on any airs. After all, everyone present has provided him with a bit of envy value. He will go back to the lottery and win 100,000 or 300,000 yuan. Isn't it fragrant? Everyone says they want to start a company, and some scenes are unavoidable, but no one dares to speak up. Li Xiaofei was quite moved, but he didn't say it in person and instead sent a message privately. Brother Yi, what company are you going to start? What do you think of me? Can I meet your requirements? This girl is not timid. The company is now just a bare rod commander, and it's okay to take it over. Anyway, the real estate company needs to be established, and Tiancheng real estate can barely be considered as a sideline. People can also look good. Yeran quickly responded, sure, wait for my notification later. There will be news this week. Chapter 9. I have decided new book Seeking Flowers. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Within Tiancheng Real Estate Company, all employees are working, but there is a special person who is not working. Instead, he searches for various information on the internet, such as the South City Sports Car Drift Track, school district housing, school demolition, and stock volatility. In theory, someone should come to take care of it at this time, but no one dares to speak up in such a large office. On Yeran's computer screen, there were about 10 pages open, and at that moment, the displayed track was the South City Sports Car Drifting Track. I didn't have much hope, but I didn't expect to actually find it. Tianyuan Road, a supercar club with a 5,000-meter-long track, controls the speed and can barely play. With divine-level drift technology, Ye Ranxiu has a rough idea when looking at surface data, and plans to go and play when he finishes work. If he doesn't go, he always feels uncomfortable in his heart. Show off your car skills more, make some Douyin sounds, get popular, and then a wave of envy will be credited, and then proceed to the lottery. After remembering the address, Yeran clicked on the adjacent page, which showed several particularly good schools in Nanchang. They chose the address, and the surrounding housing prices would skyrocket. Nanchang No. 2 Middle School, Nanchang No. 5 Middle School, Nanchang No. 10 Middle School, Nanchang No. 26 Middle School, and Foreign Language School. There are a total of 5 schools, which are basically the most popular in the southern city and have the best reputation. The surrounding housing prices of other schools are very even, in other words, there is not much operability. Even if there are, those big real estate developers are still buying. After all, businessmen do not have information, but with long-term experience, they understand self-prediction. Yeran immediately began to carefully delete and select street areas. For example, Nanchang No. 2 Middle School is divided into 6 areas, but 4 of the 6 areas were originally school district houses, with only 2 locations, Qianwei Road and Labor Road, belonging to the newly divided area. Both sides are affected by the surrounding area, and the prices are relatively high. That is to say, anyone with certain experience can feel the avant-garde road and Labor Road, which will also be divided into school district houses. In this way, it is difficult for Nanqing No. 2 Middle School to have operational space. And Yeran's goal is to seize the opportunity, acquire the cheapest housing areas, but also sell the highest priced housing areas. He can't invest all his funds, just double it, right? Until 4 p.m. in the afternoon, Yeran selected 2 places based on his own red-headed documents and comparison. One of them is Xiang Road in Nanqing 26th Middle School. There is also the location of the foreign language school that excites Yeran the most. Through online research, he learned that the foreign language school will choose to land in Nanqing after 6 months, which is not a small matter. But parents of anyone with children are more or less aware of this school, and its faculty is extremely terrifying. The president of the foreign language school has also said that in Nanqing, one must become one of the best colleges in Nanqing. So since a year ago, when foreign language schools announced their information, countless high-ranking officials wanted to use the back door to send their children in, but were all turned away unless a real big shot appeared to speak. But that level dare not speak up casually. The whole city is watching this matter. The unsuccessful address file for the foreign language school has been released, and now I am the only one who knows irrelevant things. These places are extremely important, and there is also Changdongnan Road, a large area of abandoned buildings. If I were to eat them all in, it would be like making a living. Yeran calculated in the simplest way possible. Nanqing 26 Middle School, this high school, with proper operation, can generate profits of around 100 million. But once this foreign language school is properly operated and has sufficient funds, the income will be at least 1 billion yuan or more. Thinking of this, Yeran couldn't help but get excited, and the price of these 10 billion yuan is still calculated based on the housing prices in the surrounding school districts of key middle schools. If the popularity of the foreign language school explodes and new houses are being built, then the price. Yeran felt her scalp tingling. However, the foreign language school still has half a year to settle down, and at this time, the red-headed documents are still in a big shot safe. He obtained them in advance through the system, so there is no need to rush now. The school district housing of Nanqing 26th Middle School will be announced by the end of next month. Add another new place, which is Xiang Road. Xiang Road is an old residential area with a small area but a dense population. Yeran plans to make a profit in the simplest way possible. Closing the room. Directly send someone to come to your door, offer a high price, sell as you like, and don't want to knock it down. The reason is also very simple. The news about the school district housing is about to be announced. At the end of next month, we will use the company's name to buy land and carry out demolition, ensuring a lot of trouble. He has never seen it before, but he has heard a lot about it. Registered capital is also a big issue. Even if there is sufficient funds, land transactions and demolition can be carried out. And once it involves demolition, the surrounding group of people with red eyes are all waiting for high prices and dragging time, which is mutual consumption. Instead of being so troublesome, it's better to simply take care of the house. There is no mention of purchase restrictions in Nanqing, providing feasibility for the plan. Yeran thought of this and looked up at Li Xiaofei. If I remember correctly, the other party had previously worked in building sales, so it was absolutely no problem for them to collect the house. He just needed to gather the funds. If it really doesn't work, then we'll have to take advantage of the envy value lottery or mortgage Lamborghini for a few million yuan in turnover. The announcement time for the school district housing on Xiang Road is short, and the funds are quickly recovered. It was already 4.30 and most of the employees were somewhat relaxed. Li Xiaofei looked up and happened to meet Yeran. She smiled and nodded, only to see Yeran waving at her. Li Xiaofei's surprised expression flashed in his eyes, and without any hesitation, he ran up and said, "Brother Yi, what's up?" Yeran said directly, "It's nothing. You come with me after work. I have something to instruct you to do. Do you need me to help you with the work here and talk to Manager Yang?" Li Xiaofei shook his head slightly excitedly and said, "Okay, it's not troublesome. I can go by myself." If you say this, it means that Yeran has already decided what to do and is already doing the preparatory work. With the financial support of his family, it is difficult for the second generation of wealthy entrepreneurs to fail because they can start over and receive guidance from others. A few more attempts will always lead to success. She followed the entrepreneurship from the beginning and was considered a veteran. When she succeeded in the future, there would naturally be benefits, but if the relationship could not go further, it would be worth it. Li Xiaofei thought very clearly, which was also an important factor for her to make such a decision. Mainly because Yeran gave her the feeling, behavior, and demeanor of being a wealthy child, with good manners, speaking skills, and not being domineering. "Let's go together later." Yeran made an invitation. Li Xiaofei smiled sweetly and said, "Okay." It's still the same scene, even more exaggerated than yesterday, but this time no one is envious. Feng Jie, Ding Liangping, and others did not provide any information. When it feels like there is a huge gap in identity and strength, even luxury expectations are not easy. Chapter 10 Entering the Club. New Book Seeking Flowers. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Li Xiaofei took some time to check the time. It was already 4:45, and there were still 15 minutes left for work. She immediately greeted Yeran and went to Manager Yang's office. Time gradually passed, and 10 minutes later, Li Xiaofei came out of the office with a smile on his face, thinking that his goal had been achieved. After a while, Yeran arrived at the end of the workday and was about to greet Li Xiaofei. After all, he was the first subordinate, so he was able to care for him in the name of the boss. But Ding Liangping, who was standing next to him, stepped forward with embarrassment and nervousness, saying, "That Yi Xiao, I didn't understand before. I apologize for speaking recklessly without understanding anything and saying some bad things about you, which has had a certain impact on your reputation. I hope to receive your understanding. I'm sorry." At this moment, it was time to finish work and everyone had not yet left. People were coming and going, and many colleagues saw this scene. Apologizing in front of everyone, with a loud voice, can be said to be very sincere. The accident was unexpected again. I wanted Manager Yang to call him alone and explain what he had done before. Yeran casually waved his hand and said, "Since you apologize, you have already exposed the previous incident. You will also come to participate in the team building the day after tomorrow. If you want to know the update, you can ask Manager Yang. If he's willing to say it, then I don't have much scruples and will accept everything that comes." What he meant naturally was to recruit people here to work for him. Yeran had already poached a Li Xiaofei, but he couldn't justify taking the initiative to dig a corner. However, Manager Yang took the initiative to say that it was none of his business. Feng Jie, Nangong Rou, and others simultaneously probed curiously, but both restrained themselves and did not ask. After Yeran finished speaking, he shook his head at Li Xiaofei and the two of them walked together to the underground parking lot. Not long after they left, Manager Yang also packed his things and came out. After listening to the explanation, he hesitated for a moment and refused to answer. As the manager of Tiancheng Real Estate, I need to take on my responsibility and not actively promote it. You should pay more attention to the news in your daily life, and naturally understand. If anyone wants to go that day, they should follow the proper procedures. He has already done special things for Li Xiaofei today. For the sake of Yeran's face, it will definitely not be so easy if someone comes later. Feng Jie and Nangong Rou looked at each other and wisely checked in and left. In the underground parking lot, Yeran and Li Xiaofei walked together, neither of whom spoke until they got into the Lamborghini car. Li Xiaofei couldn't help but ask, Brother Yi, can you speak now? What do you have to tell me? You're really calm, getting on the car and asking, aren't you afraid this is a stolen car? Yeran joked. I also recognize it as a stolen car, it's all my own choice. I believe that the car I boarded will lead to the glorious avenue. After Li Xiaofei's words, Yeran laughed and said, not bad. I'll treat you to a meal first and talk to you on the way. Entering the most popular restaurant nearby and finding a good location, Yeran ordered 5 dishes. Before the dishes were served, he spoke up and said, you talked to Manager Yang about resigning. How did he respond to you? Li Xiaofei puffed his cheeks and said, I just agreed to leave with you after the company's team building. You can't leave me alone. You are all my people, so naturally you will take care of it, Yeran said with a smile. Since that's the case, in the next few days, you can first contact the owners of houses near Xiang Road. I think this place has great prospects, and you can give me your all to purchase all the houses here. Brother Yi, do you want to speculate in real estate? Li Xiaofei asked in surprise. But I remember that the houses on Xiang Road are all in the old city area, with a poor geographical location. The newly built subway this year did not go there. If we want to develop there, we have to wait for about 5 years at the earliest. If luck is worse, it will take more than 5 years. It depends on the development status of the entire southern city. Li Xiaofei carefully analyzed the current situation, his face very serious, with a unique flavor, exceptionally cute. If the position is not good, that's right. Difficulty in development is even more remarkable. It has great development prospects, but it's not easy to harvest yet. Xiaofei, you used to study houses, but this time you don't need to worry. Follow my instructions and use your previous abilities to sweep houses on Xiang Road. The average price there is around 5,000 yuan, and I will increase it to 6,000 yuan. I will charge you an additional commission and pay you the basic salary as usual. Yeran joked a few words and responded seriously. Now it's Li Xiaofei's turn to be surprised. She said that, why do you still insist? But since the chosen boss intends to follow, obey, execute, and follow, this is the most basic, perhaps there is some insider information she doesn't know. The two had just finished talking for a while when the waiter came over with dishes, which hindered their communication. Yeran raised his hand and gestured, eat first. If you have any questions, you can ask after finishing. This can be considered as my boss's first time entertaining employees. Li Xiaofei responded with a smile, then I need to remember this special day well. The two of them didn't eat fast or slow. After half an hour, they ate almost the same and rested on their chairs. Li Xiaofei wiped the corner of his mouth with a tissue and said, Brother Yi, I will investigate how many houses there are on Xiang Road tomorrow. Do you have any further instructions on your end? Yeran shook his head and said, not yet. You can investigate tomorrow and tell me roughly how much capital needs to be invested. I'll give you the money. After the team building, you'll have to start working for me. It's not early now, do you need me to take you home? Even if you have resigned, don't let Tiancheng real estate drop off in the last few days. Li Xiaofei smiled playfully and said, I'm willing to serve Mr. Yi. My home is not far from here, it's just a few steps away, so there's no need to trouble. That's okay. Yeran didn't insist anymore. He was really eager to go to the supercar club on Tianyuan Road to race, but it didn't go well on both sides. Besides the unbearable itching in the heart, there is also the skill of trying out system rewards. Farewell to Li Xiaofei, Yeran drove to the only supercar club in Nancheng, which is also one of the few places in Jiangnan that has a racetrack. At other times, if you want to go racing, you can only find mountain paths at night and clear pedestrians, such as the most famous Qimingshan racetrack abroad. The name of the club is Tiannan. Yeran rushed here and happened to see 4 sports cars rushing in. He also followed in. The security guards on both sides of the door saw that it was a sports car and thought it was together, so they didn't come forward to stop it. After entering, Yeran saw the circular track at a glance, circling around and only seeing the starting and ending points, as well as the staircase entrance. However, he didn't see any shadow at the front desk. He couldn't go directly onto the track without the owner's consent, could he? The 4 sports cars in front of him were parked in the parking space, and the owner had already gone up to the second floor.